Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and to a short Thanksgiving special. I have published my first book. Read and do, that's what it looks like. And as I don't want to keep you long, and I hope you are with your friends and family, I'll be briefly reading from my new book that is launching in a week from now. So if you are just taking a break from your delicious turkey dinner, listen to what I have to say about my book. If you listen all the way to the end, you'll get a 20% discount on your next purchase. So let's do some reading and let's get started.
Beaver 115, you can just hold on Victor till they sort out what they're doing with Iberia. Just let me know what the plan is when you have it.
2 years ago, I had one of those light bulb moments when I realized how many self-written checklists I apply every week in my everyday life. For example, I have one in my car which I apply and read prior to driving to work, making sure I have all my documents, such as my passport, my flying licenses, my medical papers, etc., with me. The worst feeling is when you arrive at the airport without your company ID. Or my video editing checklist, which I've applied more than 140 times to create this channel. So it struck me, and I started writing down my thoughts on checklists and how I could implement them from the cockpit to everyday life. And that's exactly what my book is all about. Hence the title, Read what the checklist implies and then do physically the action. And I have come up with 100 checklists that will help you become a better version of yourself, become more mindful, disciplined, focused, and ultimately achieve more success in life. And this here will be my first official book reading, as 91% of my Instagram followers requested me to do so. So I'll be reading checklist number 35, Ask the 1 to 10 performance question, and you'll see that every checklist is divided into 3 parts. The first being my personal story, the second on how I believe you can profit from my experience, and lastly, the read and do checklist itself. But hear me out. Ask the 1 to 10 performance question. Every 6 months, pilots have to face a simulator check ride, either the operator's proficiency check or the license skill test. Now, the airline and flight authorities can assure that their pilots are up to standard with these check rides. For pilots, it's a demonstration of their flying skills and procedural knowledge. Now, the examiner can select from various minor faults to more significant emergencies, and the pilots facing these scenarios have to use the appropriate checklists and find solutions to achieve the best possible outcome. After 3 to 4 hours in the torture box, as pilots like to call it, we come together around a table in the debriefing room. Very often, the examiner's first question is, how would you rate your performance today on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best? Initially, there's always a moment of silence before one of the colleagues answers. I've never heard anyone say, I'm rating my performance today as a 10. As a simulator check ride is never 100% perfect, there's always small things that either pilot could have done better. So the examiner asks the question to hear your evaluation of your performance and then responds with their feedback and advice. So on my last sim check, I rated my performance as a 7. I was happy with the outcome of our flight. We worked the problem accordingly and safely landed the plane. But I knew there was some room for improvement. I knew that I was rushing things a little, which created unnecessary stress at one point during the session. I sat anxiously waiting for the feedback from the examiner, who I have to say has the most experience on this particular plane alongside the captain. So any feedback from them is valuable to me. Great job, Joe. Good procedural knowledge. You two worked nicely as a team, but... And here comes the but that kept my performance from being a 9 or even a 10. You used the word quickly too many times when the workload increased. You did work quicker, but you didn't do everything as thoroughly as you should have. Rushing or doing things quicker in a high workload situation is not what we want to see, and you should avoid that. Pace yourself, maybe even take a 3-second breather and work with structure step by step. You have time, so there is no need to rush, especially in an airplane cockpit. How right he was. I was just so eager to complete the checklist as quickly as possible and bring the plane to the runway before any more failures occurred. After this experience, I took his advice seriously and did some chair flying at home, practicing flow patterns and reading the checklist slower and with more focus. In my next sim session 6 months later, everything flowed much better. I executed the checklist with much more control and at a slower pace than previously, without using the word quickly too many times. I was so thankful for the helpful feedback given by my previous instructor. I didn't receive a 10 rating after that session either, but I guess that's the philosophy of the instructors. Rate them, give them something to improve on for the next session. That's fine with me, as I genuinely believe everybody can train to become a better version of themselves. I realized that asking other superior colleagues the rate my performance question would be a great way to receive constructive feedback. So I made it a habit to ask my captain after our flight, "Excuse me, sir, may I ask you to rank my performance today from 1 to 10, 10 being the best?" If their response were, for example, 7, I would then reply, "Thank you for the honest evaluation. Could you also tell me what I need to improve on to reach a 10 out of 10 performance?" Ready with pen and paper, I would write down the tips and feedback from my colleague, then use the notes to remind myself to work on those points until I felt my performance had improved. I see many benefits in asking the Rate My Performance question. First, it puts pressure on you to perform well at your job, presentation or assessment as you strive to hear a good feedback rating at the end of the task. To rank at least above a 5, you need to perform at a reasonably good level. Second, once you've received feedback from your superior, you can write it down or voice record it onto your smartphone. The given feedback is a super helpful improvement tip that you can use to become a better version of yourself. And third, it shows that you have the courage to ask the question and that you want to improve your performance. It's not easy to ask such a question, believe me, as you are worried about the ranking and the potential criticism you might get. But if your colleagues realize you mean well and you want to better yourself, they will give you the honest advice you need. Yes, it might be uncomfortable, but how can you improve yourself without asking people who have more experience? Their feedback could be vital to your career or other aspects of your life. Whatever the outcome of that conversation might be, stand up for yourself and thank your superior for the feedback and sincerity. All right, and here is your checklist. When appropriate, ask your superior, "Could you please rank my performance from 1 to 10, 10 being the best?" Ask the follow-up question, "What do I need to do to improve my performance?" Take notes on paper or on your smartphone's voice recorder and don't interrupt whilst receiving feedback. Apply the feedback and find ways to improve your performance. And thank your superior for the honest feedback. Checklist complete of the Ask 1 to 10 performance question. Okay, that was checklist number 35. I hope this first book reading of mine got you inspired, as there are 99 more of these stories and checklists within this book. And because you watched until the end, you deserve to get a discount as you are a true follower and clearly interested in getting this book. So if you go over to my website and you go to the signed copy, that's the one I actually will physically sign, press order now, and during the checkout option, type in checklist 20 in the voucher option, and the next 100 signed copies will receive that discount. Other than that, you can get this as an ebook version, and it will be available on Amazon from the 1st December onwards as a paperback or as an ebook and even an Audible version. What are you waiting for? Christmas is just around the corner and you have friends and family who need a proper gift. So this is what you want to get. Thank you very much for watching, or rather listening, and here's your checklist for today. Subscribe to my channel, check. Activate the notification bell, check. Follow my Instagram account, check. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning, especially from books. And that's my checklist completed for today as well. Wishing you all the best. Your Captain Doe. Have a lovely Thanksgiving.